Alright, I decided to do a quick video on this bike. I'm gonna put it up on Kijiji to sell it, and I noticed that I can put a YouTube link on, so maybe a video walk around would be better than just posting a bunch of pictures. So it's an 03 KTM 300 EXC. It's fairly modified. When I got this bike, it was in really rough shape, and I bought it just because I wanted a rebuild project, something to work on over the winter. When I started doing it, I wasn't really worried about the cost of it, but now I've picked up a second bike, a new 450, and I just can't justify continuing to dump money into two bikes. So I'll start from the bottom. First thing we did was strip the bike right down to its frame, and I love that KTM orange frame compared to the old 03 ugly frame. I think this looks a lot better. So that was the first thing we did, and while I had the engine out, that was when we started getting into the engine work. Put a brand new piston and rings in it. We didn't go with the stock piston and rings, we went with a Wiseco. It increased the compression just a little bit. While we were at that, we changed the gasket between the cylinder and the crank, and adjusted the Z dimension, which again increased the compression marginally, not a whole lot, but it did increase the compression. And while we did that, we cleaned up the intake and transfer ports. It's more efficient. They're just cleaned up and polished, not modified, and they're matched to the gaskets, which really does boost efficiency. The exhaust ports were cleaned up and polished. They're not modified. It's stock porting, but they are cleaned up as well. So we replaced, while we were doing that, we replaced the reed cage, the stock one. We put that V-Force 3 in there. It wasn't stock on these bikes. And basically, if you've ever seen one of these or you want to Google it, it doubles your surface contact for your fuel, air, and oil, and just really drastically brings a two-stroke engine to life. A lot of throttle response added by doing that. In the carburetor, while we're at that as well, just so we didn't run into jetting issues, I'm a huge fan of the JD jetting kits, so we threw that in there. We ended up going down one on the Pilot because it was running a little bit rich after the rebuild. So other than that, it's the JD jetting kit, and we're only one step below stock on the Pilot circuit. So then we changed our primary drive. We went with a 13 to 52. The 300 EXC has a lot of bottom end grunt, but it is a woods and enduro bike, so I wanted to keep that going to the ground that way. So I went up from a 50 to a 52 on the back, and I dropped from a 14 to a 13 on the front. And it really does give you that torque, and you can lug the engine down. Not that it's recommended being a two-stroke, but you can lug it down just like a four-stroke. It's a great woods bike with this setup. And as we were doing that, since everything was out, I sent my suspension away to Pro Action in Airdrie, just outside of Calgary, Alberta. The guys down there do amazing work for a fair price. Like, the difference on this suspension was night and day. So I really recommend them if you're looking at doing suspension work on any of your other bikes. So what he did, he set it up. It's resprung and revalved for about a 175 pound rider. And I'm on the short side, 5'6", so I've shaved the seat a little bit, and that with the revalving, respringing on the suspension and getting my race sag set properly on this rear shock was just amazing. I love this bike. It's really set up for a shorter rider, and it works really well. So on the exhaust side, as you can see, there's a brand new FMF on there. We went with the Fatty to open up the mid-range and the top end. It had a gnarly on it to begin with, but I hated how it fell flat on the top end. So this Fatty with the FMF Power Core 2 brought that top end to life, and together with what we did with the engine, increasing the compression and whatnot, and the V-Force 3, all of these mods or aftermarket parts that have been added on have really just opened up that power band. While I was at that, down here's your power valve. You can adjust this. Well, it's your power valve adjustment. There's a tension spring in there, and I took out the stock green one and I put a red spring in there, which is softer. So the power band opens up a little earlier and it stays open longer. So again, with the engine mods and the exhaust, it has really opened up the mid-range and top on this bike. I just can't express that enough. Anybody that's ridden a stock 300 would understand what I'm talking about. I threw a skid plate on there, Flatland Racing, great product, easy to install, really solid, and put that on there just to protect that bottom end while we're in the woods and whatnot. To go with the throttle response we got from the V-Force 3, I put on a Pro Taper aluminum throttle. It's definitely got a much nicer feel to it than the stock plastic one. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the mods. Anything else that's been done, I'll post in my description, and if you want to come and take a look at the bike, you're more than welcome to. Should mention one more thing actually while we're looking at it. The CDI Vortex ignition, 10 preset programs on it for the mapping on the ignition. And you got the switch, two-way switch up top. I had to replace that because I couldn't find a stock one for the bike anymore, and this Vortex one is overkill for the bike. I really only use 2 settings on it, but it is a great product. So yeah, that's my 300EXC. So just to go along with this video that I'm doing on my 300EXC, which I'm going to post on Kijiji right away here, thought I'd show a lineup of products that I've used in this bike and I really believe in. You've got your no-toil air filter oil and the cleaning product that's biodegradable. It's extremely easy to clean and change your filter oil with this product. None of that nasty sticky stuff that you need to use solvents for. This is all detergent based to clean it up, and it's a great product. I only use Motul oils, my mixing oil, my bottom end oil. It's all I use for brake fluids as well. Great products, I stand by them. I use this Maxima chain wax, very easy product to use and clean again, and of course I use the Engine Ice, Blue Ice. It's a great product as well. It's made for these aluminum radiators, so you're not going to have to worry about corrosion and stuff in there. So great products, I really stand by them, and it's all I've used in the bike. Not that the bike has anything on it for hours. I've only put 2 hours into this build, into the riding since I've done the build anyhow. It's basically a breaking in and jetting process. So it's a crisp engine, brand new suspension, ready to rock, and she's tuned up. She's a beast. Okay, so the bike's cold. It's been setting all night. It's about 20 degrees here, so I guess I can't really say it's super cold. 20 degrees C, but it hasn't been fired up yet today. And this bike with this build, just wanted to show you, is it's a one kickstart bike. So here, Lex, can you hold the camera for me? Thanks, dear. Just show the bike there. Okay, you can shut it off, babe.